Okay, I want to show you a tool that you can use as you're messing around with OpenID Connect, particularly with Okta. In Okta, you can define a bunch of different applications. If you select single page app, a spa, you'll get a client credential, client ID, with no client authentication, meaning no client secret. And I think Okta always requires PKCE for that. The next thing is you kind of like to try out signing in and get a look at what the token might look like and see if everything's working together. So you may need to set up an app to do all that. Well, there's a sort of helper page that I set up that's publicly accessible, and you can use it yourself. The only trick is you need to specify this URI as one of the redirect URIs for your spa. That would be here in general settings. One of these sign-in redirect URIs. So that one is the one for me. So that ought to work. So what I do is I specify my domain. I can specify the authorization server, which is default for the default one, or leave it blank, or specify, the actual authorization server that you have in Okta, which you find here under, I believe it's security API authorization servers. So you would specify either nothing or default, or a string like this for one of your other ones. Okay, then the client ID, only specify the client secret if you're using an app type of web. We're not doing that, we're using a single page app. This is just a random state, which can be anything, and you can regenerate it. This is how long the session should last when Okta does the sign-in. So you can set that to be whatever you want. The redirect URI, which if you're using this page, then it needs to be this string. I'll show you in a minute. You want the response type to always be code, because it's an authorization code response. And then you can select the scopes. So this is, OpenID is sort of required. If you don't specify that, Okta will respond poorly. And you can specify other scopes. And I think if you have other scopes, other custom scopes set in that authorization server, then you could specify them here. And this is the PKCE thing, which is just some random string. The challenge is a SHA-256 of that. All right, so given all that, when I key all that stuff in, I get a URI, and that's just the authorized URI. And so I can open that in a new window, and it'll prompt me, because I've already signed in. It knows my username, and I can just sign in with my password. But the first time, you're going to have to put in your username in Okta as well. And what you get back is a code. So that's the redirect page, and really it just displays the code that you see in the URI. So I can copy that and bring it back to my tool page, paste that in, press tab, and I can get a curl command that can redeem this code for an actual access token, or just click the button to redeem the access token right here in the web page, and I can see what I get in response. A bearer token, there's an access token there, there's also an ID token. This is the scope that we passed. That's just this stuff. And then these things are the JWT. One is an access token, one is an ID token, and you can see them just by opening that link in a new tab. You can see what they are and how they decode and so on. So this is the person that I signed in as. That is the email address in the access token. The type is actual access token. And for the ID token, it'll be obviously something different. I put the scopes in, so it's giving me the name, the email, the preferred username, and so on. Anyway, that's the contents of the ID token. So that's it. That's a kind of a nice tool for playing around with Okta sign-in.